So I would like to make a video where I talk about Romania. I keep getting asked a lot by different people to talk about my country more. The reason I don't talk is that the videos where I talk about my country aren't that popular. Most people aren't interested. So, I try to provide things that people are interested on the channel. But okay, right. So here's the news from 2018. Over 4 in 5 Romanian doctors considered leaving the country at least once. Look at this one. Romania's brain drain. Half of Romania's doctors left the country between 2009 and 2015. Now, I'm not aware with the recent stats, but I can tell you this from my colleagues at the university, an overwhelming amount of them have left the country. So this is an issue that has been plaguing Romania for quite a while. And I remember the Romanian president Traian Băsescu also telling people that if you're not happy here, you can leave. So why do doctors leave? Is it because the medical university here is not good? The answer is no. The medical university that I did in Romania is quite good because a lot of doctors that leave Romania and they go to France, Germany, Italy, or Spain, they get a lot of letters of recommendation and they get a lot of praise because they are doing really good work. In fact, what the most interesting thing about the Romanian Medical University is that it teaches you how to do medicine at a low cost. So, for example, if a person comes in, you're not going to recommend the most expensive investigation possible on the list. You're basically going to look at the symptoms, and if the symptoms demand it, you're going to ask for one type of investigation, and you're basically like trying to narrow it down to do an accurate diagnosis with the least expensive amount of investigations possible. And a lot of managers from foreign hospital appreciate the fuck out of that. Because you do really good medicine and you put accurate diagnostics without wasting a lot of funds. That's how people and doctors are trained here. So hospital managers appreciate that. But again, why do doctors quit? Well, I will tell you why I personally decided to quit. And I said this a lot of times, and I'll say it again, because I'm not ashamed. When I was working at the hostel, there was like $300 a month wage, right? That was how much I was getting in hand, around $300. Now, that was a couple of years ago, and in the meantime, the wages have gotten up. I think some people are getting anywhere from $700 to $1,400 per month, so the wages are better. But you also have this thing called being on watch, all right? Being on call. And being on call means that you go to the hospital at 6 a.m. in the morning, you come back home the next day at around 4 p.m., and then the next day you have to go again at 6 a.m. Like, it's insane. All right, like that is more than 32 hours where you have to stay awake. Now, some people go to bed if there aren't enough a lot of cases, but in most of the hospitals that I know, you are going to get cases during the night, so you can't really sleep. You're not going to get a good night's sleep. And it just destroys any chance you have of a personal life. And the reason you can have that, there are sections that I know where you have like 10 of these per month. Like you have to be on call 10 times a month, right? You spread it out during like 4 weeks and you will see how many times you have to go to work. It's insane. And the reason is because a lot of doctors, as the article said, have left Romania. So the ones that did stay now have to do the job of 2, 3, in extreme cases, 4 other people. That is a lot of stress that is placed on a person. And beyond that, if you make a single mistake, like after you finish your 31-hour shift, you get like another case and you make a mistake there, the media is going to be up in arms. Like, how is it possible? How did you not see this? Right? And on top of that, you have the social stigma. There is the social stigma that doctors are leeches. They take money from the taxpayer and they take bribes, and if you go to a hospital you need to give the envelope to the doctor. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that there is no doctor that ever takes a bribe, or that in some places the situation might not be worse than others, but I, as a person who never took a bribe in my entire life, the moment people found out I was a doctor, they would look at me like, He's the kind of dick that takes bribe from the. And it's like, motherfucker, I'm a microbiologist. I don't even get to see the patient. Like, even if I wanted to, then there would be right. But like that is the thing that exists in the Romanian's brain. And then I have seen cases with the patient chasing the doctor on the hallway to give him the envelope, because again, it's not just the person receiving that's a crime, it's the person giving that's a crime as well. And I have seen it like plenty of times where patients know, like they insist, they shove that envelope down into the doctor's pocket, even if the doctor doesn't want to. Because that's how they're trained. That's how they think is normal from the socialist times. And you know, like in other countries, the bribe is legal. That's what pisses me off. And I think the bribe should be legal. Because here's the thing. You have patients coming into the hospital, and the doctor on watch, maybe he's like a new doctor, you know, maybe he just graduated university, or maybe he's not such a renowned physician. And the patient, the patient wants the university professor from the top floor to descend from the heavens and use lay-on hands on him. And it's like, no, unless the professor treats me, I do not want to speak to you. There are people with that mindset, okay? And I think like, no, it's perfectly fine, all right? You don't like the doctor that you have been randomly assorted to. Perfect. You want the university professor to suck your cock. Pay money. Pay money. The university professor should have a fee. If you're not happy with the one that the state assigns you and you want Jesus Christ to descend from the heaven, well, Jesus Christ costs money. Because a lot of people want to see Jesus Christ. You're not the only one. Jesus Christ has a fee. And you give him that receipt, and you get, taxes to the government, and everyone is fine. I don't know why they don't do that in my country. I legitimately do not know why they don't do that. It's like, no, and everyone will have like a different fee. You might even have like doctors that charge no fee because they want to do like some pro bono case in order to get themselves recognized. Might be an option, right? Like you might have a person that's not a university professor, like or a chief of staff, like someone that's in the middle, and he would be like, no, like if patients want me, let free of charge. But anyway, right? So now you understand the system, right? And it's a very annoying system. There's a lot of people that are being hired on nepotism. Like you will see a doctor or a nurse that is not only incompetent, but is making your job harder, and you cannot scream or shout at them because they have relationships with the management, and they can make your life miserable. So you have to pretend you don't see it. That is what's happening in the hospitals here. So a lot of people don't like it, okay? A lot of people quit. They don't have to put up with this shit. On top of that, there's shortages most of the times. Like you don't get like the pills you need, so you have to buy them. And again, like there are doctors who actually have to go and buy the prosthetics or the pills. And when they tell the patient, it's like, look, you need to pay me this because the hospital doesn't have this, and I bought it. It's like, oh, it's a bribe. You're asking for a bribe. So a lot of people don't want to put up with this. Now, the pandemic came, okay? And a lot of doctors have quit. And people are on Facebook going, oh, how is it possible? Motherfucker, first of all, instead of why don't you volunteer? Like, no, seriously, there are hospitals in need of staff. You can volunteer. No one is stopping you. But what really annoys me is that the mainstream media did not look at the type of people that have resigned. The type of people that have resigned, overwhelmingly, and I know this from the inside, the overwhelming amount are the elderly. We're talking about doctors that are 65, 70 years old, which did not want to retire because they noticed there is a huge lack of doctors in the hospitals. And they want like, you know what, I'll stay a little bit longer. Train the next generation or whatever. And they have a lot of comorbidities. They got a lot of other diseases that would make them getting infected worse. So we're talking about high blood pressure, heart conditions, asthma. Most of them are smokers, right? So they're looking at it and it's like, well, time for me to retire anyway. You won't see that many young doctors that are going to resign during this period of time because they're not stupid. They know that if they file for resignation now, they're probably not going to get a job in the near future, and there's going to be a really bad economy coming up. And they know that their names are going to be remembered. So it's not the young doctors that are quitting now. Now, of course, there might be a couple of nurses and a couple of doctors that legitimately are young and are quitting, but they're not the majority. So please, stop with this thing. It's like, if you are bullying now, why weren't you bullying back when in 2009 and 2015 when half of the doctors were leaving the country? Because I'm telling you that they weren't leaving the country because things were too great here. No, you want it in the European Union. This is what you get, right? Like when you are in the European Union, and I'm not talking from a political or an ideological perspective, we're talking purely economic. You finish med school and you can choose to work in the country for $300 a month, or you can hop on a plane and work in a hospital in Vienna for like 3,000 euros a month. What do you think most doctors are going to choose? The European Union. I saw people waving the flags. It's like, yeah, the European Union has brain drained Romania of doctors. I have been saying this on my channel since I started. Even if you think ideologically is fine and blah, 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 blah. I don't care about the ideology, the politics. I'm talking about reality, all right? If you're a person that just finished med school, you just do a simple math and you question, should I stay here for $300 when I can go somewhere else? And they will provide me with a place to sleep. They will give me a place to work, and they will even teach me the language. So, like, don't pretend right now that you're, And secondly, right, you look at the situation in Romania. The pandemic hasn't even started properly here. Like, we're way behind other countries. And already, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, around 10% of the people infected are doctors here. And it hasn't even started. Why? Because there is no equipment to protect the doctors. Up till now, there weren't even like basic bitch masks for people to wear. Right? We're not talking about the hazmat suit with the oxygen tank behind. No, we're talking like basic protection equipment. So, yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, well, the doctors are quitting. Can you imagine if the soldiers were deserting? Yeah, I legitimately think if you were to send soldiers to the battle with no weapons and ammo, they might be deserting. Yes, I honestly think that you would see this. And secondly, since when is a doctor a soldier anyway, right? Like, I know that if you decide to go into the military, you get a bigger pension when you're out. In some countries you get praise, like people are like, thank you for your service and all of that. Are doctors receiving any of this? Because, okay, fine, like if doctors are soldiers, perfect. Well, then give them a pension when they retire. Give them medals and give them rewards and praise like you would give to a soldier if that's the same. Or is it just the responsibility? Because again, like I don't remember when doctors signed up, this thing was mentioned. That in the case of a pandemic, you will be drafted and you will be treated like a soldier and blah, blah, blah. None of that was said. But now you who sit at home is panicking about these things. And you're not panicking because you really care about the country. No, you're panicking because you will think that you will need the help and there will be no doctor to give you. Because you're scared about your personal safety. Just like the doctor is scared about his personal safety. It's not just his safety, it's the safety of his family as well. So again, I'm a little bit biased because I worked in the medical industry and I understand the situation there. So of course I'm leaning more towards those guys. I don't think it's okay, to resign. Like if I was still working, like if I was still in a job right now, I wouldn't resign. My girlfriend is working and, she's not resigning. But still, the situation that I want to mention is that I'm not going to name and shame these people or be like, but you know what? The opposite is true. I do consider the people that are remaining, despite the conditions, the people that do want to stay and take the brunt of it, that these people are actual heroes. And the mainstream media, fuck you. Instead of just talking about the doctors that are quitting, why don't you talk about the hundreds and thousands of volunteers, medical students that decided to do this out of their free time, without getting paid, without anything. When the hospital said, yes, we need volunteers, these people stepped up to the job. Don't you feel like this would also be something worth mentioning? Isn't this like something worth saying? But no, apparently not, because that doesn't give clicks, does it? That doesn't give the sensationalism that the base to be that is after. Anyway, maybe I'm full of shit. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you guys there.